Welcome back to the It's UATL podcast, your guide to Black culture in Atlanta. I'm Deasia Page.
I'm Naja Parker.
And I'm Nedra Brown.
So, how are you all?
You know?
Tired?
Just one of them days.
Travel woes, storm woes.
All of it.
You know, I
Life.
actually have a tree in my front yard right now because of the storms this week. And I'm just waiting on good old Georgia Power to come help me because it is on the power line.
Oh,
And
God.
luckily it hasn't affected
That's
Oh, I
been
was about to
almost a
say,
week,
you don't have any
though.
power.
I do have power.
You do have power.
So I guess whatever power line is affected didn't affect the electricity. But
Thankfully, but still, that's a sore.
But the
like
fact
an
that you have
eyesore
power
to-
means they're going to take their sweet
Yeah,
time.
because it's been
I'm
a
starting to
week.
think I should have lied.
Yes.
Because she asked me all those questions like, you know, is there a spark? Is there a fire that you see? Do you have power? And I was honest. And she was like, well, we're prioritizing the people
You
with
should have been
those
like,
type
lots
of
of
issues.
sparks. Lots of sparks.
Is that a fire right now? I think y'all need to come now. Yeah. So
Well,
I'm doing.
Yeah, same here. Nedra,
Same.
doing? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, it's Women's History Month, and we're flying high with one of Delta's first Black flight attendants. Plus, we'll tell you why we can't stop talking about the WNBA. But first, let's get into our rundown of Black culture news in Atlanta and beyond making headlines. Naja, what's up first?
All right, y'all. So up first is this HBCU Aware Fest that's happening in Atlanta. It is a week-long festival taking place March 21st through March 26th at various venues across the city. It's being produced by the City of Atlanta, the Mayor, Andre Dickens, and the Student Freedom Initiative with the Live Nation Urban. Now, I had to look up Live Nation Urban. It's the Live, the Live Nation sector that focuses on hip-hop, R&B,
somehow
and
I knew
gospel.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did the Urban tip you off?
I think so.
Right.
So the goal is to address one of the most pressing challenges facing Black America, the student loan debt crisis, while celebrating the impact and legacy of the historically Black colleges and universities. And that's a direct quote from the event organizers. So it's not just a concert. There's also
It's a
going to be,
fundraiser.
it's a fundraiser. There's a comedy show. There are going to be a whole bunch of panels and summits that focus on affordability and financial literacy. And then it's all going to lead up to this big concert at State Farm Arena, which has a stacked lineup. You'll see Ludacris, Jeezy, Jill Scott Timms, Metro Boomin, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kirk Franklin, Yolanda Adams. So gospel, hip hop,
Every genre.
the urban
The urban
genres.
genre.
And then there are going to be a couple of special guests too throughout the week, like Tyler Perry and Magic Johnson, Anthony Anderson, Roxy Diaz, all the people in the AJC and UATL. We're going to be there, so there's definitely more coverage coming. So, how are y'all feeling about this new HBCU Aware Fest?
How are they raising money? That's what I'm curious about.
That's a great question. I believe there is a fundraiser event where they're doing this at like this casino night. And so that's the thing that'll be hosted by Anthony Anderson and his boo, Roxy Diaz, not to make it about their relationship.
Yeah, they are going on
I didn't
now,
know
which
that.
I'm just like
See,
kind of
now
side-eyeing
that's interesting.
that
Yeah.
a bit, but you know, it's
I
another topic.
wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming the like funds from the concert go towards.
Yes, that I need to confirm. But
I think it may be a benefit concert. I mean, I'm assuming it would be.
if
It'd
they
be weird if
say
it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah, they say it's about awareness and student debt and
Right.
affordability and all that. Because a lot of the events are free, but the comedy show, this concert, those are price ticketed events. Yeah.
Gotcha.
What are some of the venues?
Oh, there's an event at the Gathering Spot. I forget the exact title, but they're doing like this AI pitch competition. So you can come present an idea in front of a group of panelists and maybe walk away with something interesting.
Like your new AI recording artist, perhaps?
Oh my goodness. I hope not, but we'll see. There's an event at Ebenezer Baptist Church where a lot of the leaders and presidents from HBCUs across the country are going to come and talk about affordability and the future of education. So that's another venue. Ebenezer, Gathering Spot, State Farm Arena. I think there's an event on campus at Clark Atlanta University at Club Woody, which is what we used to call it back in the day. It's the library that the AUC shares. But it was a club back then because we weren't doing no work. We weren't studying. We was having a good time.
Club Woody.
Well, I love it. I mean, it's just the inaugural event. So I think it's important. I mean, I know I didn't attend the HBCU, but I'm still paying off my student loan. So, and I I mentioned this earlier on the show, or maybe last year or whatever. But the reason I didn't go to an HBCU is because my PWI was giving me more money,
Yeah.
and I feel like some people just think like automatically think that HBCUs are not inexpensive.
Oh man, that's a whole
So
lie because I
Wait,
did go.
think they are inexpensive
yeah,
or are
sorry,
not
sorry, are inexpensive.
Okay,
Sorry,
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm in
No,
student loan
that's not
debt
true.
today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And quite grateful for whatever's going on with the government that I don't have to be
That it's
paying
stalled,
on it.
right.
Yeah, that is stalled. I will take back that $250 I've been paying, but it's the thing because Spelman, for example, is a private institution, so you really got to have them funds together.
Yeah. I think people underestimate the impact that student debt has on your life and your ability to, move forward because you do end up for many years. I mean, I know people my age who are still paying student debt and it makes no sense. How do you get to a point where you're mid to late career and you're still spending part of your income on student debt? So
It's a mess.
it is a hot mess.
It's a mess.
Well, hopefully this will help.
I hope it helps too.
Yeah, it would be curious to see how much money they
raise,
from this. So I'm very interested to see the results of all this.
I do hope they report back on the numbers too, because if you look at the website, they'll show you all these disparities between Black students and white students and how, of course, we have it much harder. So hopefully the result will be a whole bunch of money, like my student loan debts paid off. Amen.
Love it. Love it.
All right, Deasia, what is next?
Not so new news. For hopefully the last of this
the saga.
This Magic City saga that wasn't Magic City but still ended up being Magic City night anyway. But the Magic City night that was supposed to be Magic City night at the NBA Hawks game when they took on the Orlando Magic happened recently. And spoiler alert, people still showed up in their Magic City gear.
I'm here
because why not?
Despite the NBA, canceling the night and all the promotional activities and programming. It was interesting. I was there. I covered it. Covered it. But yeah, it was kind of interesting how like across racial lines you saw this mass support for Magic City because one of the first people I interviewed was this white family of 4 who showed up in their own Magic City hoodies, like that they made themselves.
Wow.
And I was like,
so wait, with children?
Well, older kids,
okay.
But not super young. But I feel like if they had children, they wouldn't have cared anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was interesting. Then I saw a Hispanic guy wearing a hoodie that said NBA hates lemon pepper wings, which was interesting. And I talked to him about that. And then I also saw like in the hallway, I randomly saw like Pastor Troy just in the hall. So I spoke to him.
With his belt?
Yes, of course, of course. It wouldn't be Pastor Troy without his wrestling belt. And then I also saw a former Magic City dancer whose name is Strawberry, and she was also in the Magic City docuseries. And she, had her thoughts as well. She also used to work in the State Farm Arena too.
Mm.
So yeah, it was just like.
So what was the mood? What was the mood in the room?
I mean, Magic City is Atlanta. Atlanta can't be canceled, and Atlanta and Magic City are synonymous, which wasn't a surprise to me because we live here and.
So did it feel like a moment of protest for people, or
No.
like defiance, or what?
No, it didn't seem like defiance.
No.
It just seemed like business as usual. Like the NBA can have their things, and everybody else can think what they want to think, but we're still gonna do us, and that was it. I mean, T.I. performed. He didn't really say much like during his performance about Magic City, but I noticed that he and Mr. Magic embraced during his like dapped each other up basically. So
because that was the only thing that remained from the programming was T.I.'s performance,
yeah,
right?
and they had they served lemon pepper wings at State Farm Arena, so they still had that, but it wasn't like the Magic City wings that everybody wanted. And people who got their hoodies, the official Hawks and Magic City or hoodies early, wore them there.
But
I was wondering,
did you get one?
No, no.
You were supposed to hook us up.
Oh
know,
no,
right? Because the official ones, is it the black hoodie with the Magic City written in like this yellow goldish color, or is that a different one?
I believe it's peach.
Oh, it's a peach situation.
Because it's like it kind of like aligns with the colors of the Hawks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm looking at your story and I'm seeing pictures of the Magic City paraphernalia, but this might be
Okay.
a homemade one.
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah. The white family they made that there
Wow,
themselves.
that's the picture I'm looking at, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I was just so shocked because I didn't think that a white family would do something like that. And then they're like, oh yeah, we go to I've been to Magic City. Usher used it in his
Magic City is for
performance.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I like what you wrote too. Let me see what line you wrote. I think it was your subhead. While the Hawks scored their 10th straight win, Magic City also remained a winner.
Yes,
that feels
'cause
right.
The Hawks are having a great winning streak. They just won their 11th straight game, I believe. The most they've won, their first winning streak in like over a decade of this magnitude, I believe. So yeah, the Hawks won. Magic City won as well.
It was a good night.
So yeah, but in sadder news, we recently lost, one of our Black culture icons, Kiki Shepard, and Nedra, tell us a bit more about what she meant in her legacy.
Rest in power to Kiki. She died unexpectedly on March 16th of a heart attack, according to her representatives in Los Angeles. And Kiki Shepard, as you all hopefully know.
Yes.
I was like, let me check.
Yes.
She was the hostess of the Apollo stage from 1987 to 2002. She worked with Steve Harvey. So, she came out on stage, introduced some of the acts, interacted with people, all that stuff. To me, she was like the Vanna White of the Apollo, right?
Yes.
And also was famously name dropped by Big Boy in So Fresh, So Clean. I don't know the line. Anybody got it?
Isn't it just like Kiki Shepard?
That's all.
So Fresh, So Clean,
Okay.
Or something. I don't
Works.
know.
That works.
Maybe. I probably got that totally wrong, but I know he said like something like Kiki Shepard and alluding to how she was very elegant.
Yes.
Going back to the song's title.
So she was 74 years old. And what I didn't know about her is that she actually she appeared in a lot of well-known shows after her time. I did not know that she was in Grey's Anatomy, Baywatch.
Wow.
Everybody Hates Chris.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. So, yeah.
And she had a Broadway run too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that was impressive. That's something I did not know. I came to know Kiki Shepard because of Showtime at the Apollo. So this is in the 90s, like several decades into her career. But learning about her Broadway run, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think she was a dancer
Right.
maybe before the
First.
Showtime. Yeah. So
And a graduate of Howard University,
Yeah.
speaking of HBCUs. Yeah.
From Texas, a Southerner. When I saw that she died unexpectedly, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, 74? Gone too soon.
Yeah. I still consider that pretty young,
Yes, for sure. There's
want people to live
more that she could have done.
Yeah, there's more that she could have done. And, she started the organization, KIS, to spread awareness about sickle cell disease. So she just did so much.
So many things.
In her life. Yeah. And I always remember her like putting the hand above the contestant's head so that we could vote for the guest. And then realizing too that she was in her 40s in the 90s.
Right.
And I wouldn't have guessed that, a whole baddie for her entire life.
Black does not crack.
Well, rest in power to Kiki Shepard. Now we're going to move on to our main segment.
So today's guest is Phenola Culbreath, who in October of 1966 became one of the first Black women to become a Delta flight attendant. Welcome, Phenola.
Thank you.
Thanks
Happy
so
to
much
be
for
here.
joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, I understand that you are an Atlanta native, and that's very exciting for us. So tell us just a little bit about your childhood. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in the old Fourth Ward area on Andrew Avenue. But I had a very lively childhood, loved to play, had an older sibling, my sister, and a younger brother. The two parents now, both my parents are deceased, and unfortunately my sister is deceased as well. So now it's just me and my brother. But we had a great childhood.
Yeah. When you were in school, what did you think that you wanted to be when you grew up, when you got older?
It's so funny you asked that question because I can remember when I was at Slater Elementary and I was in a stage play and we had little costumes, little tutus, and we had umbrellas. And they played this song, Pennies from Heaven, and we had a little routine we did for that. So when we went out, there were all these stage lights, the floodlights like on Broadway. And when I saw those lights, I thought, I'm home.
Yeah.
Even in elementary school, I just felt that. It gave me so much energy. And I thought I wanted to be some kind of entertainer. I used to love to dance. So I did a lot of dancing in high school, and I used to write plays. So I'm a creative, I'm an artistic person. So I felt that my calling would be in the arts.
Well, how did you get from artist to flight attendant? Tell us about how this all happened.
It's very interesting. I was a long distance operator for a while, what used to be known as Southern Belle on Ivy Street. I had finished my freshman year at Clark Atlanta.
Okay,
I was
AUC?
I was a French major. Well, you probably didn't know, or you're too young. My instructor. You've heard of the Porter Sanford theater indicator? Well, she and her husband attended Clark Atlanta. So the wife, Bobby Sanford, taught me French there. And so again, that's where the arts, come in with her having started the Performing Arts Center. I decided that I had become a little bored with being long distance operator because you sit at the desk and you at that time
plugging the
Okay, you gotta
in the call.
break it down for us babies. What is
For the youngest
a long distance operator?
What does that work entail?
Yeah.
Okay, it was like when you pick up your phone now, your cell phone, and you make a long distance call, but you don't have to go through any changes. You just pick up your phone like you're making a local call. Well, it used to be that you had to have operators at a facility that would have to plug the calls in to this communications area. And people would call the operator, and then we would dial the number to the other city, and we would plug in that call and connect them to the person who was making the call.
So I can see how you get bored with that. Yeah.
Just sitting there day after day. It was so interesting in the
was
beginning.
a big deal, though. Long distance phone calls were a big deal. And you couldn't make them if
you didn't have a lot of
if you didn't have money.
Didn't have a lot of Black women doing that job as well. I was one of the first to do that as well.
Wow.
But getting back to becoming a flight attendant, I babysat for this lady named Emily McCrary, who was one of the first African-American ticket agents for Delta. And so one day I asked Emily, Emily, how did you get that job? How'd you get an interview? And so she told me the person, and he was with the Defense Department at the time in D.C., but I knew his son I had gone to high school with at H.M. Turner High School. Well, to make a long story short, I said, Emily, do you think you could get the interview for me get him to set up an interview for me with Delta? She said, oh, sure, no problem. And she did. And I had 2 interviews. The rest, as they say, is history.
Were you applying for a general role, or did you specifically apply to be a flight attendant?
Another good question, because when I went there, I wanted to work in reservations. I had never been on an airplane in my life.
Ooh.
I had never flown before. And so when I got there, I told the gentleman, as he was interviewing me, he said, well, why are you interested in doing reservations? I said, because I have the experience of being a long-distance operator. I communicate with people that way. I'm accustomed to it. I'm comfortable with it. I know what to do. So I think I could do the same thing at Delta. Just transfer my skills over here. And so he said, but, you said you were bored with that.
Good point.
Looking out for you.
And I said, well, yeah, you're right. I did say that. And it's true. He said, well, you know what? I think you'd make a great stewardess.
Okay.
I said, stewardess?
You sound surprised.
That's what
I got to get on a plane?
Right.
Well, that's what we were at the time.
Yes.
We were known as stewardesses and not
yeah.
flight attendants. And so I was like, ooh, I don't know. I said, everybody I know is afraid to fly. They're afraid to get on the airplane. So I said, it sounds really interesting. I think I'd probably like it. He said, you get to travel, all over the United States. You get to wear all these glamorous uniforms and meet a lot of interesting people and have access to go to all these different places all over the world. And so then I started really getting excited. But I told him, I said, I need to go home and discuss it with my parents and see how they feel about it. And he said, well, why don't you do that? And then after you talk to them, you give me a call and come back. And so I went home and they were over the moon excited.
Okay.
They were
How old were you at the time?
19.
Okay.
You had to be 20 to be a flight attendant. So I had my 20th birthday in training.
Wow. So for the young folks in the building, talk a little bit about what air travel was like in 1966.
It was just wonderful. I remember the first time after training, we have to go on what they call 2 observation flights. One was on what they used to call piston airplanes that had the propellers.
Oh.
I flew on an airplane that had propellers. Wow. And then we'd have a jet observation. So on my propeller flight, it was to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
Big time, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And when we were preparing for takeoff, and all of a sudden the plane just started rumbling down the runway, it was so exciting, so exhilarating. I fell in love with it. The first takeoff and the first landing, all of it, it was just so new. It was brand new. It was refreshing. It was exciting. So then my jet observation was to San Francisco.
Ooh.
And I did leave my heart in San Francisco. I fell in love with all the hills, the Golden Gate Bridge, the bay. I just never dreamed that I'd see or do any of those things. So my experiences from the beginning were just so exciting.
Well, that's what we have in common because my first flight was to California.
Nice.
I was 5 or 6. And I distinctly remember my parents, taking us on a flight, which I'm sure was an outlandish amount of money. And I don't know how they did that. But anyway, it was in the, the 70s.
Yes.
And it was one of the planes that had 2 levels.
What?
Oh, that was the L-1011.
What? Okay.
L-10, no, I'm sorry. That wasn't the L-10. That was the... Oh my goodness! I'm trying to think.
Do you remember
of the
the one?
name
It had
of
the spiral staircase, and you went up. Yeah, you know
this. It was
this.
the 747.
Yes.
That's what it was.
That's what it says.
747.
And it was 2 levels, and I just remember really wanting to go on the top, so we walked up to the top.
Yes.
Well, we might all have that in common. I think my first flight was to California because I had an auntie and some other family members who lived in LA.
Yeah.
And I remember we used to take Northwest Airlines, which has since been rolled into something else. Merged into something else. So look at us, Cali girls.
I know. Yeah. So do you remember what city in LA?
Oh, well, let's see. What my folks used to stay. I don't want to get it wrong.
Was it in Inglewood?
I think it was Crenshaw.
Crenshaw.
Yeah.
I know
I went to
exactly where
Gardena.
Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Okay. I know where all of that is.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's amazing. You flew in the 70s. That was not too long after I got hired.
Right. And I don't remember the people, obviously, but I feel like I would have remembered if I had seen a black stewardess. Yeah, I would have remembered that for sure.
And we'll be right back.
What was your first day on the job like? After, you finish your training, you're graduating. What was that like?
It was also brand new and so exciting. I was just open. And
you knew it wasn't boring. You knew that much.
Right. You got that right. You got that right. And I had an opportunity to be me, to be myself, because I love serving people. I'm very hospitable when it comes to people. So it was like the perfect job for me. So I couldn't wait to get on there and smile and greet the people as they came on and to check their tickets and make sure they got to the right seat. And then, of course, it was very challenging learning all of the emergency procedures. Now, that a lot of people they don't focus on that. And they didn't that much then either. They focused more on your appearance, how you looked, But we really had to know how to take care of people more ways than just serving them food. Fortunately, in my 36-year career, I only had like 2 maybe emergencies where a couple of times I had to give someone oxygen.
Ooh.
Then we had a landing that was a little bit different. It was like right gear collapsed. But we didn't have to prepare for, for an evacuation, which was good. One interesting thing you were asking me about serving on the airplane, the propeller planes that I was describing to you, one of them was called the Convair 440. It carried 44 passengers and it required one flight attendant. So there were times I was on the airplane by myself,
Wow.
the only flight attendant serving 44 people.
Wow.
That's wild.
And I have a funny story about not the first time, but one of the times when we had a short span of time between takeoff and landing. And I had gotten all of my food out, and I was walking through the cabin, making sure everybody was taken care of. And then when it was time for us to make the approach for landing, I realized I was not going to have enough time to get up all the trays back into. So I notified the captain, and the co-pilot came back and helped me get
Really?
Okay, teamwork.
He
Wow.
came back and helped me get all my trays back in. So, sometimes just funny stuff would happen.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was just great. It was fantastic. I was in my element.
Yeah.
I really was.
Yeah. And being one of the first Black women, flight attendants at Delta, at the time, like, were you nervous? Did you feel any pressure to succeed? Or, like, what were you feeling?
There was a lot of pressure to succeed. I was nervous. Anytime you do something new or different, you're going to be a little bit nervous. So when I reported to the training facility, I was the only Black out of 50.
Right, like that was in your class.
52.
You were the
Yes,
only,
I was the only Black in the
Wow.
class. And so I was a little bit nervous about, because everybody was pairing off. You had to have a roommate.
Okay.
And so I was just praying, hoping and praying I got someone who was going to be comfortable, with being in the room with me. And I was blessed. My roommate's name was June Zern, and she was just awesome, just beautiful. And we had to maintain a 90 average in the class for 5-6 weeks of training. I was able to do that. And then every year, of course, you have to do what they call recurrent training, where you have to train every year and you have to pass that class. So I did that for 36 years. I was
Wow.
able to,
Every year.
stay certified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
On the emergency equipment, on everything,
Yeah.
really, but especially knowing how to handle your passengers if there's an emergency.
Now, I know you had a positive encounter with Miss June, bless her. Were there any experiences that were not so positive with you being one of the first Black stewardess?
I had sometimes when I would speak to people and I would smile at them very pleasantly and welcome them on board. It was like I was ignored because, and I knew what it was, the reason why they didn't want to speak to me. And because they would speak to my cohorts, right? And sometimes when I would ask them a direct question, they wouldn't always answer the question. They would convey it to someone else, and then they would, convey it to me. But I didn't let that hinder me, not at all. I didn't let that bother me because, I knew what I was there to do. My mind was focused on that. And I said, I wasn't the one with the problem.
Yeah.
So I was not going to let the problem affect me and change how I felt.
And was that any different than the world in 1966? Like, what was outside of work? How were things in the world? Things were changing rapidly.
They were. Of course, I think the Civil Rights Bill or the voting bill was passed maybe 65, the year before I became a flight attendant. But I remember very well drinking from colored only water fountains, colored only bathrooms, and going to restaurants where I had to stand and order and couldn't sit down, and you'd have to take the food with you. Oh, I remember all of that very well.
And this is Atlanta too, right? So
Oh,
the
absolutely.
civil rights movement was here.
That's right. Yes. I fortunately, and I'm glad I didn't witness, water hoses and dogs attacking people. That would have been devastating for me. But of course, we saw it on TV. Everybody saw it on television. And our hero, Martin Luther King, he made such a difference in the way Black people were able to start getting jobs, opening up things for people.
Right. Were you concerned at all about moving around the world? You said before you hadn't really gotten on a plane.
Right.
Did you know what was going on in other parts of the country or the world? And how did you feel about, when you thought I might be going to this city or this city?
Right.
What were your thoughts on that?
Well, like I said, I was always open and always of a positive mindset. And I had made up my mind that my environment was going to be what I chose it to be. And I was not going to let those negative vibes change who I was or what I was there to do. And I didn't, it's interesting. People from all over the world have to, like they say, come to Atlanta. Everything connects in Atlanta. So I met people from all over the country at different times. But people are people. If people are going to like you and accept you, they're going to do that. And if they're not, they're not. And so I made up my mind that my happiness was not going to depend on how other people viewed me, but I always commanded and demanded respect.
Yes.
But other than that, it was about the same all over, everywhere. Yeah, it was about the same.
One thing I was curious about too is that there were some strict rules for stewardess back in the day.
Yes.
You couldn't be married. You couldn't be pregnant. There was a certain weight requirement.
Had to be a certain age. Wait, what was? I think I read the weight requirement was 120 pounds.
Yeah,
I was like, it depends on would I have ever met that in 7th grade, maybe.
Right, as a child.
What?
A literal child.
Yeah. Were you thinking about these type of limitations when you started to think about the other parts of your life outside of work? How that would affect you?
I knew, that I couldn't be married. I was dating someone at the time and, my high school sweetheart. And we had plans, of course, to get married later. But then he went away to college. And that was when I decided to do something as well because I finished my freshman year at Clark, but I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to explore. Yeah. And I knew that wasn't the stopping point right there.
Yes.
And so when I got hired with Delta, then I knew that marriage was not going to be anytime soon. Okay. I was cool with that.
Okay.
I was fine with that because like I said, I wanted to explore. And I was so young. I was just 20 years old. And I figured, I have time. And I can't remember how long now they said you'd have to be there before you retired. But I think the career wasn't, you had to retire after like 15, 20 years or something like that.
Yeah, I read 32. A lot of women had to retire.
Maybe that's what it was.
Age of 32.
Yes, that's what it was.
Wow.
And but
that's
then
kind of harsh.
Right.
Bye. Moving on.
Right?
Wow.
Yes, but I felt like, by the time I didn't know if I'd get to that age, I was just enjoying what I was doing at the moment.
You were staying present.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I had goals and things I wanted to do, but I just felt like I had time. I didn't let time pressure me to say, I've got to do this and got to do this by this certain time.
That's a good attitude.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It worked. It worked.
It worked for you.
And then those restrictions lifted over time, so you no longer have to even worry about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so had I worried about those things, I would have been just, torturing myself and worrying in vain because they all work themselves out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which things usually do in life anyway.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So were you based out of Atlanta or?
I went to Memphis.
Okay. That's my hometown. That's where I was born and raised. Yes.
Oh, I have an interesting story about that. And I don't know if you remember Benjamin Hooks.
Yeah.
He was president of the NAACP for a long time. It's a picture of him in my album.
Your album.
Yes, it's a picture of him and his wife, Frances. He was also a minister. So when I got to Memphis and there was no integrated housing, they contacted an Episcopalian priest. Unfortunately, I don't remember his name, but he was instrumental in finding a family that was willing to let me come and stay with them.
Wow.
So that I wouldn't feel so isolated.
Right.
You know, I'd be with a family. But anyway, I met some wonderful people in Memphis, fell in love with Memphis.
So this might not be the question to ask a flight attendant, but where's your favorite place to travel?
Oh, my goodness. I love the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I love tropical places. I used to fly to Hawaii. I did some international travel. I used to love to fly to Paris and Amsterdam. But my biological clock didn't allow me to do that for a very long time. I think I was in the program for about 6 months, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice my body like that, with having to, some people, would medicate themselves to wake up, and some would medicate themselves to go to sleep.
Right.
And I that's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so I'm a person who requires 8 to 9 hours.
Yeah.
Not mad at
As you
that.
should.
And that's why you look how you do.
Right.
Thank you.
How do you feel like the industry has changed over the years?
I don't think that the employees have changed all that much. I mean, maybe in appearance, a lot of people don't like, sometimes what they see with appearance because they did away with some of the restrictions. People also don't seem to take the work as seriously as they once did. And of course, our flying public has changed quite a bit. And, I know everybody's aware of all the disturbances that have happened on the airplanes.
Yeah.
Where people, get into fights and they attack each other or they may attack the crew. And so it's changed quite a bit. It would be a major adjustment for me now. It really would, because I was used to a more peaceful kind of an atmosphere.
Yeah, a little more refined.
Yeah, and thank you. Exactly.
When did you retire?
I retired right after 9/11.
Yeah.
They offered us a package.
Yeah. I
Oh,
noticed
did
that a
they?
lot of people left in 2001. I was wondering if it was related to 9/11. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Knowing what you know now, what would you tell, yourself back then, like that 19-year-old version of yourself who had that interview with Delta and excited, to be a stewardess?
I think I would say to not be so concerned about the future. And like we talked about marriage, and things of that nature. And like you said, I was living in the present moment. I would say that things are going to be okay. Just be yourself, continue to do what you do what you love, continue to treat people the way you want to be treated, pursue your interests, and just be free. Just be free and not be so concerned about the future and what the future was going to hold.
I'm carrying that one with me. Just be
Same.
free.
Same.
I love that.
I need
I'm
that.
gonna repeat
right
that. That's
now.
my mantra right now. Be free.
Be
Be free.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Ms.
you for
Phenola.
having
It was
me.
so
I
great to meet you.
enjoyed it tremendously. You are all three of you, so beautiful. Beautiful
Thank
young
you.
ladies.
Thank you.
And
Thank
yes,
you.
and I think it's great what you're doing. And you seem to really love it. And you're good at it.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, you make this easy for us. She came in here with great energy, fabulous outfit.
Exactly.
Amazing stories.
I know, right?
All right, y'all, before we let you go, it is time for Rent Free, where we talk about a story taking up real estate in our minds. And this week, that goes to the new WNBA deal. The WNBA and the union have finally reached a verbal agreement on their CBA, which is the collective bargaining agreement.
Woo!
Woo!
Finally, thank God. Because I was like, are we going to have a WNBA season?
Season at all.
Yeah, folks were worried.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that there were more than, it took more than 100 hours of negotiating to even, get here. And of course, we still have to go through all the paperwork of getting it written down and approved and all the things.
Making it real.
But we have a verbal agreement. And I think that is an accomplishment.
Did they shake hands at least? Pinky promise? Anything?
I mean, by the time it's hitting the outlets.
I don't know if I would let it go on a verbal agreement after all of this. You know, like I want something.
Some written down.
Shake. I don't know.
Some kind of paper trail. We need to really signify that this is a thing. Well, a part of the agreement is this new salary cap. The new salary cap is at $7 million, and that is up from a little over $1 million. So this is a tremendous win. Jump. And now the average salary will be around $600K, and it used to be around $100K. And this salary will be tied to the league's revenue, which didn't happen before either. So we have a lot of wins coming out of this agreement. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, when I look at the $600K.
Is it enough?
I mean, the average NBA, I'm going to call it MNBA, Men's National Basketball Association.
MNBA.
Since we call it the WNBA.
Because we got to be fair, right? Let's just be.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. The average salary in the MNBA last season was $7 million.
Wow. And you said average. That's not the cap.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so the average, if this agreement goes into effect, will be 600,000, which it reminded me of, I think recently, Angel Reese, who plays for the Chicago Sky. She said, the WNBA doesn't pay my bills.
Right.
Like if I were to survive alone on the WNBA, what the WNBA pays me, I wouldn't be able to really do that.
And I wonder is this enough for them to have to stop playing in the summer leagues? We know what happens sometimes when you get caught up in another country. Will it stop them from having to do all the things that they do outside of just focusing on playing basketball? I don't know. Like maybe there was a magic number, but I wonder if this is it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it's more than, 100 or 120,000.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's why she was saying it don't pay my bills, because how could it?
Right.
Yeah.
Because Angel Reese, I mean, I really like how she's expanded her business portfolio, because she has the podcast. She has like a bunch of brand deals. She's also doing, I think she may be in like a Netflix series soon.
I didn't know that.
Or next Netflix film or series soon. And you see her everywhere.
Right.
So I just feel like she's kind of revolutionizing how you perceive WNBA players off the court.
But also, like, is that what she wants, or is that out of necessity? Like, because you live a certain lifestyle, people expect you to live a certain lifestyle, and you have to actually fund that lifestyle. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder, like, do you want to work that hard, or do you have to? Both. Yeah.
I'm glad that it seems like we'll be getting the season, because I really was kind of concerned about that.
Yeah, the reports say we are on schedule now. Preseason and regular season is still starting in April. So we will have to go support. I think the fans have helped a lot too. I mean, people have been showing up and showing out for the last several years. I went to my first WNBA game about 2 years ago, and I didn't know. I did not know that the crowd for the Atlanta Dream specifically was so hype. Yeah. It was so loud in there. People had on paraphernalia. It's a good time. Mm-hmm. It's just really, really cultural. I have a friend who lives in Memphis. She would drive from Memphis to Atlanta just to go to the Atlanta Dream games.
Wow.
She was ready. So the fans have been down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for years, like I remember as a child, I would go to Detroit Shock games. That team doesn't exist anymore. I forget what the team is now or whatever. But Detroit used to have a WNBA team, and I used to go there as a child. People would, come and support. So just to see the evolution of the fandom of the WNBA is quite fascinating to see. And so that's why I'm glad that the players are getting 20% of gross league and team revenue, because they are really the stars of the show, and they're marketable. I think, like, unlike the NBA, where it's more like, maybe more so like team based to me, I feel like with the WNBA, like, you have stars that can stand on their own, like without
a team.
Just like Angel Reese,
right?
Or what's homegirl's name from that went to UConn? Oh, Paige Beckers. That's her, Paige Beckers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's funny. She has like a funny social media personality, and so I just feel like all of them have like very fascinating personalities about themselves that make them almost bigger than the league to me. But so that's why I'm glad that they're getting their just due.
Yeah,
So.
they seem a little more multidimensional to me than some of
Yes.
the NBA players. That's
Yes.
no shade to the men in the MNBA.
NBA.
You know, they're more interesting. So.
Yeah, we should go to a Dream game.
We should.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree. They have some pretty good food too. Like if you have I forget what ticket you have to have, and I forget the name of the section too. But it's more elevated concession foods.
Oh, now I haven't seen that.
And it changes from game to game. So sometimes it's like burger sliders or like barbecue sliders. I've gone and had pasta back there.
Oh,
You can get your little wine, but I mean, it really is giving. So I am down to go and eat and cheer on the
I've
squad.
only ever had the Crown Royal mixed drinks.
Well, that feels very black though. Crown Royal
mixed
feels like
drink.
a black drink.
all the flavors of the Crown Royal.
Yeah, I knew the
Wow.
Crown Royal bag before I knew that it was liquor.
Right, exactly. A staple.
A staple. Literally have a bag. I'm probably telling too much. Bag hanging from my kitchen door right now.
I have like
A collection.
just like speaking about like, black alcohol. Like, I have like Hennessy bottles.
Say it
like,
loud. Say it
like
proud.
as decorations in my small apartment. So, duality.
Yes. Duality. So we can go have a Crown Royal drink or a Hennessy drink together.
And some pasta.
And some
Yeah.
pasta.
Yeah.
At the game. Yeah.
Okay, y'all. That's all the time we have. Thanks so much for tuning in and see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to It's UATL. UATL is a source for Black culture and community in Atlanta, powered by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and its supporters. The show is hosted by Nedra Roan, Deasia Page, and me, Naja Parker.
If you liked the episode, be sure to follow us and leave us a rating and review. It really helps. It's UATL wouldn't be possible without our lead producer, Isabel Kirby McGowan, and producer Kara Schillen. Extra support from Ron Williams. Our executive producer is Gavin Godfrey. Megan Nadolski is our senior producer, and Samantha Stamler is the head of audio.
Special thanks to Janelle Davis, the managing editor of UATL for the AJC. Want more UATL? Be sure to join the community at uatl.com. See you next week.